Look at that infinite sadness.
He looks like he's scared.
He looks scared.
He looks watching me.
He looks beaten down. Terminator Dark Fate director Tim Miller is processing the bomb. He doesn't understand why Dark Fate bombed.
It looks like someone's gonna jump out at him. And he's like
James Cameron is gonna jump out and choke him. That's what he's probably afraid of, because they did have their spats, I guess.
Because Cameron told him his ideas were dumb and he did it anyway.
Yes. So we're gonna talk about the bomb that was Dark Fate, and then a couple weeks after Dark Fate, Charlie's Angels bombs, and they're already making excuses for Charlie's Angels.
Protect women.
Protect women, and don't reboot old stuff. Maybe
women are strong, and women don't need no man until they don't do well, and then you have to protect them.
So maybe it's time to come up with something new.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Or if you're going to reboot something, be respectful of the source material.
I mean, I don't know if this one was. I didn't see it, but I know the Terminator one was.
All right. Before we get into the video, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We're at over 75,000 subs. Thank you. Thank you for that. We're hoping for 100,000 subs soon. 100,000 people. That's more people than went to go see Terminator Dark Fate and Charlie's Angels combined.
I don't think that's true.
So Clownfish TV, Clownfish TV, we're bigger than Terminator.
They're gonna be like, you're liars.
Yeah, we are liars. We're also drinking tonight, so excuse us. So okay, Hollywood Reporter, Terminator director Tim Miller on box office bomb. I'm processing. He's processing.
If we make dumb comments, it's because we're processing the alcohol.
He's processing. The director has no plans to work with James Cameron again.
No kidding.
James Cameron clashed with Deadpool director over Terminator Dark Fate. This was a film that was forged in fire. He has no plans to work with James Cameron because he wants to retain control. Are you snorting? He wants to retain control of his own films. It has nothing to do with whatever trauma I have from the experience.
Trauma? Oh my God.
That is a sad, beaten man.
Trauma.
This is the same man who was baiting the fans last year, like, you know, all the man babies are gonna hate this movie.
Yeah.
And they did.
And now he's traumatized. Oh my God.
On the surface, Terminator Dark Fate had a pedigree for success. Series creator James Cameron and Linda Hamilton were back for the first time since Terminator 2. Director Tim Miller was hot off his surprise hit Deadpool, which he also got fired off of Deadpool 2 by Ryan Reynolds, I believe. I think he's got the track record of being fired. The film received the franchise's strongest reviews since T2, but Dark Fate ultimately bombed, earning just $29 million on its opening weekend. 3 weeks later, Miller's opening up about what happened in a revealing interview with Kim Masters.
Well, wait a minute. First of all, I want to say on paper or on the surface it looked good. Yeah, it did. But it's what you do with it that counts.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how big it is, it's how you use it.
That's right. that is the takeaway.
Were you defending other people?
That is the takeaway from two female-led box office bombs.
The takeaway from a woman.
The takeaway from a woman is
it's not big. It is how you use it.
It's how you use it, and they didn't use it right. It was ultimately disappointing twice,
right.
2 times.
That's usually enough for people. They just
like,
you disappoint me once. Okay, disappoint me twice.
Maybe you're off, but.
You know, you just suck at it.
Now we're breaking up. Okay, I'm sure we could write a book on why it didn't work, said Miller of Dark Fate. I would like to see
a book on this.
I would like to see cover.
I am sad.
That's what the book's gonna be called. Tim Miller's Face. I am sad. Dark Fate.
He looks more like someone waiting for a Jack in the Box to go. But at you. That's what he looks like to me.
It's his career. Surprise! Nobody's calling, Tim. Nobody's calling.
That's probably not true. But
that's probably not true. Actually, the way these things work is these people fail in Hollywood, and then somebody calls it failing up. I've heard of people saying failing up before, where they basically strike out and then they get a promotion.
Yeah, I mean, they wonder why everything goes to crap. It's like maybe you promote people who actually, win. Just saying. God.
I'm still not sure, and I'm processing, but I'm very proud of the movie. Industry observers have pointed to franchise fatigue. Oh my God, that's what they're doing with Charlie's Angels.
I'm blaming everything on franchise fatigue.
Everything. Dark Fate, Dr. Sleep, and Charlie's Angels. They can possibly be bad movies.
Or Star Wars, or,
It could possibly be bad movies. So indeed, Dark Fate followed a string of so-so Terminator sequels. The baggage of which Miller felt, no, you made a bad movie. You made a bad movie. You had, on the surface, all the things that should have worked. Plus, James Cameron was telling you the whole time this is shit. And you know what? You didn't listen to James Cameron, and look what
This
happened.
isn't gonna go because you don't know the audience. And I'm sorry, inserting your own crap constantly into things, it does not go the way you want it to.
Yeah. Miller addressed the head-turning quote from producer and co-writer Cameron, who said there were many creative battles on Dark Fate. The blood is still being scrubbed off the walls from those creative battles. It could be a worse fluid. So he did, at least, clean that up. This is a film that was forged in fire, right? Miller acknowledges there were plenty of creative battles on Dark Fate between him, Cameron, and Skydance's David Ellison. Even though Jim is a producer and Ellison is a producer, technically they have Final Cut and Ultimate Power. My name's still on it.
Oh, so now he's gonna try to blame it on them.
This is the blame game. The Terminator Dark.
It's their fault because they're the ones who had Final Cut. If they didn't like it, doesn't matter what kind of shit fit I threw. Doesn't matter, how much I tried to, leverage agendas and how you should, you should be more progressive or you're mean. They could. It's their fault.
Wow. Even if I'm going to lose the fight, I still feel this obligation to fight because that's what the director's supposed to do, fight for the movie. So when it came time for Miller to show Cameron his director's cut, he was unsure what his producers would think. The lights come up and there was a lot of stuff that I'd cut that Jim thought was important, and scenes we shot we had disagreements on, but the lights come up and Jim says, we've got a movie. Yeah, but how did he say we've got, like...
He's probably so tired of it. He's like, fine,
like, whatever, Tim, just put... What do I know? What do I know? Wow, okay, so, yeah, they're just talking about the disagreement and talking about... he opted not to return to Deadpool 2 after having creative differences with Ryan Reynolds. This seems to happen often.
It became clear that Ryan wanted to be in control of the franchise. I thought he kind of already had that.
He kind of was already. He was like the biggest advocate for the movie. I mean, he was like, so yeah, this is just.
It's everybody else's fault. Hollywood. It's everybody else's fault.
Oh wow! Oh wow! Now he's even complain about this. Miller feels horrible for losing money on Dark Fate, and he even took it upon himself to pick up the tab when he and Ellison, the producer, had dinner this week. I bought dinner for the billionaire, Miller said, aware of the irony.
I thought you owed it to him.
I don't know. So wait, I cost your studio millions of dollars, but I'm gonna buy you a couple $100
and I'm
dinner.
Poor.
I would be like, dude, I hope he got lobster.
I mean, he's like, and I'm poor. So,
I'm poor.
After
after a bomb, most directors might worry about being sent to director's jail. There's a place called director's jail. Do not pass go. For God's sake, do not make another movie. This is where Rian Johnson needs to go. Director's jail.
To director's jail.
Miller noted he had a long career as a visual effects pro before directing. He'll be fine no matter what. Oh, this sounds to me like he's like, yeah, I might not be able to direct movies anymore, but I can go back.
I guess they'll go work for them in other capacities.
I can do Photoshop. I can do Photoshop real good. Reflecting on his recent dinner with Ellison, Miller got choked up when recounting one question the Skydance boss had for him. What are we going to do next together?
Now that you learned your lesson.
Now that you've learned your lesson. So the blame game is being played. We got James Cameron blaming Tim Miller blaming James Cameron.
But this question at the end, this reminds me so much of publishing. Your book didn't even earn out. But, what are we doing next together? Instead of giving somebody else a chance who might actually, have new ideas, who might actually be able to sell books.
Yes.
Let's just keep giving the same people book deals when they can't pay out on the book deals they already had.
This happens. You wonder. Okay, so just to go off on a tangent,
bitter or anything.
Just to go off on a tangent on comics for a moment, there are a couple of publishers out there that do graphic novels, and while they do have some people that sell very well, their graphic novels sell very well, there are an awful lot of people that have multiple book deals whose graphic novels do not even break even. They don't break even, but they keep getting book deals for years. I mean, it's not just like, we did 2 because we had a contract to do 2 books. It was like, here, let's do 8 books together, and at some point in time, one of these books is bound to be a hit.
Yeah, and then
weird.
Instead of taking on people who are new and who might have better ideas, or who might be a new voice, or might be actually marketable, no, let's just keep giving the person that barely earns out. So
this is sort of like,
that's what it reminded me of.
It's sort of like the way it seems to be working in Hollywood now, Hollywood and in comics and other industries is like, you pluck somebody out of the minor leagues and you drop them into a major league ball game and they keep striking out, but you're gonna like train them as you go, hoping that by just dropping them into the major leagues, they'll eventually be able to hit a home run.
Instead of just finding somebody who could probably hit a home run to begin with,
right,
and would be easier to work with and would, be more appreciative of opportunity.
Yeah, and then the worst part is when these people think that like they actually earned it, And a lot of them didn't earn it. They just happened to be the right kind of person at the right place at the right time.
But the good news to them is when they do get to a place where they've been trained enough after 10, 20 years, and they're higher up, then they owe them.
That's true.
So I'm just saying.
That's
but anyway,
true.
So yeah, so we have that. Then we have Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels. So now Charlie's Angels, we cannot say that Charlie's Angels was a bad movie. We can't say that people were sort of had their backs up because the movie was quote unquote woke. We can't say that maybe the movie wasn't marketed very well or at all because most people didn't even know it was coming out. We can't say that maybe the fans, the longtime Charlie's Angels fans, didn't like the idea of such a radical shift in the movie. And of course, we had Elizabeth Banks blaming men, and one man in particular, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. It's all Spider-Man's fault.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She is the J. Jonah Jameson, the female version of J. Actually, she would make a good female JJ in the MCU. I don't want to give them ideas. I don't want to give them ideas, but she would make a good female JJ. So anyway, she's blamed Spider-Man for its failure. Now they're blaming franchise fatigue.
That's what they always blame. That's a new Hollywood's new buzzword. It's nuh-uh, it's franchise fatigue. Star Wars sucks. Nuh-uh, it's franchise fatigue. It's Parks and it's franchise fatigue.
I love this. Days after Charlie's Angels, the Charlie's Angels reboot fell to earth with a mere 8.4 million opening. That is dire.
I really do think it's because of the marketing. I mean,
some people would have gone to this,
I think it should have been higher than that. I honestly, I'm going to be completely fair. I think the marketing was so bad.
Nobody knew it was
No one knew it opened yet. I think this weekend, you might see a lot more this weekend.
With Frozen?
I don't know. With Frozen coming out. Oh, and then Mr. Rogers is out too.
And Knives Out.
Oh, yeah. Anyway,
is that this weekend? I think it's
the next weekend.
Oh, it's next weekend.
But I think I don't know. It's one of those, but those two I think are out this weekend. I do think you're going to see more going to the movie this weekend because I think people are like, wait, that was out? So I think they will have an uptick this weekend. They're not going to beat Frozen 2. No way in hell.
Nobody's gonna.
They're gonna need to let that one go. But need Stafford. Anyway, I need to not drink. Anyway, when I do these.
No, you need to drink more often. It's more fun when you do.
I'm having a lot more fun.
Okay, so here's the thing. Industry experts are trying to figure out just where to point the finger of blame.
How about back at yourself?
Yeah.
Because when you point your finger, there's 3 pointing back at you.
Industry experts are trying to figure out which fandom they can blame this week, which blogs they can phone up to write a hit piece.
How they can blame men.
How they can blame men.
They can make it more about misogyny.
Blame Spider-Man. Blame James Cameron.
Blame Spider-Man because his name's Man's in it.
That's right.
Iron Man's next.
Iron Man is, well, he's dead, so it doesn't matter. Spoiler. Somebody out there is watching this video and they're like, "Oh my God, Tony!" It's like, it's only been out for 6 effing months. Come on. Tony Stark is effing dead. Get over it. So is the MCU.
Okay.
Anyway.
Here's the thing. It's like, well, first of all, I am 100% in agreement with the idea that stop rebooting everything. How about you make something new? You could have made something new that felt similar to Charlie's Angels, but was new and had your ideas in it. And it might have done better because you weren't invoking the name Charlie's Angels. Stop rehashing things. Stop redoing things. Stop making things like She-Ra and saying, oh, look at She-Ra. It's not flipping She-Ra. It's something else. Stop calling it She-Ra. But I'm saying, I'm just tired of this.
Well, here's the thing. They're talking about how, when is the expiration date on an IP? And I don't think there is one as long as the movies are good because they go down. Now, it's buried in here. Go down. To be sure, there are revivals that have felt fresh enough to earn a resounding yes from audiences in recent years. That includes Jurassic Park with Jurassic World, Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Both of those, I think, were handled pretty well. And
but here's the thing, they're saying because they had felt fresh enough. There's some freshness to it, but a lot of it, they respected the source material.
Yeah.
That's what it was. They keep not respecting it, and then they're like, it's because you're just all dinosaurs, and you don't like fresh things. It's like there's a difference. There's a difference.
Yeah, and what they need to do, is they need to shut down their directors and their stars, because I can tell you, not so much in this case. This was just like nobody gave a shit, but definitely with Dark Fate. People already had their backs up because of the stuff Tim Miller was saying.
Well, no, apparently Banks made some comments
similar
to that.
Okay, so yeah, when you immediately go into it like, oh my God, this movie is not for men. I hate men. Men are not going to like this movie. Then you know what? They're not going to go see the movie.
They tell them not to go, and they don't go, and then it's like men made it fail. It's like, what
Which
the
is
frick?
it?
And you know what? Women didn't go see this either.
Nobody
For all
went
them
to see
pointing
it.
at men and saying it's men's fault, especially this Charlie's Angels, and they're blaming the men. And you had that Paul, is it Feig? Is that how you say his name?
Feig. Yeah, Feig.
He's like, what about men and misogyny? And I'm like, but the women didn't go see it either. So what the hell, dude?
Oh, here it is. Here it is. This is what I said on Twitter, because some people were like, well, they stopped advertising it. Here it is. Sony knew for several months that social media chatter was lagging, prompting the studio to trim its marketing spend in recent weeks. Charlie's Angels, which cost $50 million to produce, is off to a dismal start overseas. They basically stopped advertising. They were not going to throw good money after bad. They're like, this thing is going to bomb. Let's not sink another $20-30 million into marketing it. Just get the damn thing out of the theaters, and we'll dump it on to Blu-ray and dump it onto the streaming services.
And maybe it'll do better that way.
Maybe. But Dark Fate, they marketed the hell out of it. I mean, they started marketing Dark Fate last year. I think it was last year.
I think people are just really tired of these agenda films. I'm sorry, they are. And I mean, Charlie's Angels was always kind of progressive for what it was. I mean, you're right. It was made for the male gaze, the original.
Male gaze.
But
Farrah Fawcett.
I liked it. I always thought Charlie's Angels was cool. I mean, I watched it in reruns, obviously, but I thought it was pretty cool. And, you know, I used to think that was, you know, that and Wonder Woman. I was like, I love Wonder Woman. She was like my hero. And, you know, it never occurred to me that, you know, her outfit was for that reason. But you can't just go the opposite way and make it, you know, about, you know, girl power all the time and not expect people to be tired of it. Because everything's about that anymore.
Well, here they're pointing to some other. They're like, we don't understand. Okay, let's look at the difference here. Dark Fate bombed. Charlie's Angels bombed. Both of them, the selling point was girl power, girl power, girl power. Men
don't need men. Girl power.
Yeah, men don't come see this. The Shining sequel. Who the hell cares? I don't even understand what the hell happened with that. I didn't know it was coming out. The only reason I knew this movie existed is because they had a trailer before it too. That's the only reason I knew that Dr. Sleep was the thing. Men in Black International did the same thing. This is a movie that they rebooted with a focus on
Look,
girl
now there's
power.
a girl.
Now there's a girl.
There was a girl before.
You know, nobody wanted the sequel, but you could do it right. I mean, who the hell would have thought? Who would have thought you bring Jumanji back and it would make a ton of money?
And look, Jumanji had an ensemble cast.
It did. It did. And
That's what I'm saying. That's the point. I mean, they're banking too hard on we have to go clear the other way too, and it's not working. So stop doing it.
They're already setting themselves up for failure with James Bond. They've already gone that route with James Bond. Like, we're going to have a female 007 and you're going to like it. And if you don't like it,
There's something wrong with you.
there's something wrong with you.
I'm tired of
it's
being
not going to
told,
play well.
As a woman, or, you know, in general, I'm tired of being told if I don't like it, there's something wrong with me. I'm tired of being bullied, harassed, you know, trying to make me feel bad and trying to, you know, make me agree and like what they want me to because I'm a bad person otherwise. I'm sick of that shit, and I don't want to hear it anymore. It doesn't make someone a bad person because they don't like something. Maybe they just don't like it because it's not good. Maybe they just don't like it because maybe there's a personal reason they don't like it, and it has something to do with the film itself. I'm tired of people being bullied, called names, belittled, everything else, and then they yell about, oh, you're just picking on people because you're trolls. You're just trolling people, as they do nothing but troll people.
Amen. Amen. I think this is interesting too. Maybe they're starting to learn. Sony's going to resurrect Ghostbusters after its 2016 miss.
He missed.
Miss. But this time with Jason Reitman and the original stars. So maybe the takeaway from this isn't that you can't bring a classic IP back. It's just that you have to, I don't know, be respectful of the original fan base and stay true to the source material and don't try to change it so much that it becomes something completely unrecognizable, because at that point you're better off just starting over.
Don't just give it a code of whatever IP paint and say that's what it is.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think Hollywood this year especially has learned some hopefully learned some very expensive lessons, because that's all that seems to process.
And I think people who even would have sided with these people like 2 years ago are not siding with them now, because they're like, I'm so tired of it. I'm being told that if I don't like something and because it's legitimately not a good movie, that I'm a bad person and I'm all these things that I've fought against.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me, I've always been all about, diversity, rights, all that stuff. I always have. And I'm just to the place now where it's like, screw you, because I still believe in those things, but I believe in those things based on, you know, realistic expectations of those things, not on this, you know, bastardized extremist version of it where if you don't like it, we're gonna mock you, belittle you, call you foul names in Spanish, and tell you you're, you know, a misogynist even though you're a woman because you don't agree with us.
I am going to say it again. I've said it before in a couple of recent videos. 2015 is over. After about 4 years, 2015 is over, and even people that were, I guess, on the quote-unquote right side of history are getting fed up with the bullshit and the name-calling, etc., etc. And they're certainly getting tired of seeing existing franchises be changed for the sake of changing them, and no good reason. There's no good reson to make a lot of changes.
Lazy. It's just being lazy. Let's not take any risks, but you're taking more risks. You're better off to try new things. I think that the companies that start trying new things are going to get further ahead.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing that. We're seeing some, you know, I mean, look at Joker, which, you know, granted, it is an existing IP. Batman's been around for, you know, 80 some years now, but Joker was very risky because it was an R-rated movie. It had a villain, you know, at the center of it, and it was a very realistic take on the villain. Very, very risky. Was, you know, put together on a shoestring budget, but it paid off because people were like, "Wow, this is something different." You know?
Well, what gets me is I remember when we were kids, like everything was like new things. It was, you know, it was all creative, imaginative. Not always a winner, but a lot of new things came out. And unfortunately, now that stuff's being, you know, repeated now because, you know, apparently creativity stopped in the 80s and 90s. But, you know, I mean, just stop just repeating everything. Make new things.
And we've said that before. We've said before that, like, it does seem like we're just, you know, the record player is skipping. Remember records? They brought those back too.
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
vinyl's back. But it's like the record is skipping. And we did peak in the 80s and probably early 90s, and then ever since then we've just been rehashing and remaking the same things over and over and over. But it's like, you know, overwriting a cassette tape. You can only remember those two? They'll probably come back. They'll probably lose quality every time you run it through.
And VCR tapes.
Yeah.
VHS. Yeah.
Yeah. Remember those? What, would that be funny if they brought VHS back?
Give them time.
So I think people are just getting tired of it. You know, that's my takeaway. But just make good movies. Again, you know, Jumanji, never would have expected that to be a hit. It was, because it was decent. You know, these weren't good movies. They weren't good movies. Don't make Tim Miller sad again.
If you deserve it, you deserve it. So.
Tim Miller's gonna have to do Photoshop.
That's
for the
like
rest
trauma.
Of his life. Trauma.
Okay.
Trauma. Anyway.
People said mean things about me on the internet. Well, get in line.
He said mean things first.
And people say mean things about me all the time either. I'm on here like, I have to get over the trauma.
I think Tim Miller and Rian Johnson are gonna have to, you know,
grow a pair.
Grow a pair. Yeah, they say mean things, and then they get a little butthurt when people push back, and they don't go see their movies. So we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. We'll talk to you guys later.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.